はい、お願いします。Okay. I just want you to use the term kind of a feel, imagine a circle. Okay. Me thinking about a circle, kind of forming a circle on a mental blackboard, but there's a circle going on. And as you kind of pick up, the circle itself can rotate. Okay. The question would be, how many points are there in that circle? Depends on, how you section. It could be an infinite number. Feel, imagine a circle. Okay? And that circle is in motion. We could, for example, follow the movement of that circle one way, follow the movement of the circle the other way. Okay, so move a little bit. So we're going to feel, imagine, not just think about. Okay, now that circle has a center, a point, which is different than a point out there on the circle, which you can make as big as you want or as small as you want. Because you can't really have that circle without a center. It doesn't change the movement of the circle or the points on that circle in motion. But if I don't have a center, the circle kind of combusts or flies off. Okay. Okay. So, just make sure that's added to the circle. You can't be thinking about a circle and a center, but really, that circle, the points of the circle in motion around a point or a center. Really, no center, no circle. And the other thing is no circle, maybe no center. The center of what? Center of a circle. Huh? We're starting to move a bit. Okay. Center, circle, circle, center. How many points are there in that circle? And there's a point somewhere in the middle that is a center point. Okay, now we're going to play another game with the center and the circle. Each of the points on the circle can be the center of another circle. Well, what's that about? Well, in motion, you can move any way. You're going to form a circle. And there's a point to the circle you started out with that's the center of it. But what if every single point in that circle could be the center of another circle? Well, that could evolve and change. Okay. And again, the sense is not think about and try to move and figure it out. It's more like sense imagine. A little different. Sense imagine. Okay. And one of the things we're kind of looking at right here. Okay. How many points are there in that circle? And the circle can move. And the center point stabilize the circle, or you can't really have a circle. And it's the center, isn't it? And then very free. All right? Okay. So what I'm also saying is, it's different than my thinking about it, trying to see it out there more or less. It's just imagine. Okay? circle moves? How many points are in that circle? And what if every single point on that circle could be the center of another circle? Just imagine what you get as possibility. Okay. Okay. So I'd like you to pair up, investigate. Yeah. So one thing right there. Okay. Give me a good grip. I set this circle. And the circle moves. How many points does it have? I got 2 points. They're out there with your grip. So there's a center. And all those different other points in the circle, think, imagine. I'm orienting myself against the grip. There are 2 points, and it's not even a circle, maybe it's a line. Feel, imagine. And then, every single point was the center of another circle with the same sort of potential. So we're saying feel, imagine. So far, David, why don't you go back in? Now, right there, so you're feeling that grip good. Now, since imagine the circle, that's the center point. You can make the circle as big as you want. It moves. Yes. How many points are there? Not just the 2 points you feel on your wrist. Yes. Imagine, feel, not think about, react. Yes. Yeah. Imagine, feel. Imagine, feel. Yeah. And the circle can increase in size. You can rotate. Okay. Now, one of the things right here, let's just say all of a sudden it's computed here, but there's another point over here, where the circle can go the other way. Right? If you run into something here, okay, you're solid, you can change track. There's another. What if? That's the title of a Marvel series, right? Yeah, right now. What if the circle could go that way? Okay. We're playing the game. Okay. Just wherever you are, we'll kind of. Look, we got there's body here. I was wondering about today because it's a holiday weekend. Just imagine a circle. It's different to think about it. Try to look for it out there. Just imagine. Just imagine the circle. How many points are there? Well, in theory, depends on, you could say there's an infinite number of points, or you could form a circle with 10 points, but then you can form a circle with 13 points. But it's a circle. And a circle has a center point, doesn't it? Okay? So, just imagine the circle. How many points are there? How many points are there? Just imagine. Play Albert Einstein for a second. Imagination is more important than what you know. Everything new comes out of your imagination. Everything you know is fixed. Yeah. So there's a circle. You can make it, since the circle is probably as big as the universe, right? Or you could probably condense it to a more circle. And how many points are there? It's more like, think, imagine the circle, not try to figure it out. And there has to be a point, the center of the circle. Other than that, all those points are going to fly off and explode, maybe. Chaos. But there's a center. So there's a circle. Now we're going to play another game. What if every single point on that circle, which could be from 10 to 50 to an infinite number, is the center of another circle? If you're thinking you're kind of in a different zone, I'm saying feel, imagine. What does that mean? Well, I like to go that way, but every single, you here, I'm fixing on that point. No, there's a point. But every single circle, point on that circle is potentially the center of another circle. What would that be like? Y'all might think that's the center. There's no circle, which is impossible, but you know, just feel the circle in motion. How many points are there? An infinite. But what if all the points on that circle, whichever you are, start to, they can be the center of another circle. Okay? What if? You know, and just imagine what if. We'll play Einstein for a little bit. Okay? If it's coming in this circle. Each of these is a point. Each of these is a point. You know, circle. Each of these is a point. How many? And here, okay, good. There's that point. Just kind of another circle, and they all kind of talk to my center point. Okay, so sometimes the Aikido, you know, gets a little free-form, but that's where you're turning into some archetypal constructs. Okay, so the two hands again. Okay, good. Let's just do this. It's a form. If I run into something out there, well, that becomes the center of another circle. If I run into something out there, that becomes the center of another circle. So if you boom, harsh me out, no. Whatever we need to have is right there. Okay? Don't imagine, not think about. What if? Powerful word. Okay, all right. So I got 3 people. Thank you. Thanks for being here today. Let's play. Okay. Yeah, good. Can't imagine. Can't imagine. If it just grabs you and try to do a movement, you're kind of stuck in a very limited sense of things. I don't know if those senses out this way, but maybe. Yeah. If you bump into solid, that's 2 points right there, right? Or a point. One grip might be harder than the other. But that's your point. It becomes the center of another circle, which is free to rotate. How many points does that new circle have? And of course, if you lose your own center point, you can't. The system kind of locks up on you. So free and easy. Imagine, feel. Imagine, feel. Yeah. Okay. Imagine, feel. Yeah, energy. That's how energy wants to move. Energy doesn't want it bottled up. That's the thing. Energy wants to move, wants to flow, wants to create a communication. You see what I mean? Okay. My point is here, I'm going to make that the center of another circle. Okay. Right. So one of the things you play is if you're holding strong. Okay, that's the center point of another circle, isn't it? And I'm keeping my own center point in my own circle, but then again, the world will do that to you. Okay, boom, 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 boom. And we can switch. That circle can move in different directions around that center point. Your center point's talking to that new center point, and there's kind of a harmony. In fact, you keep him talking to his center point. So, it's what we call the Aikido process. You see this feeling there? Yeah. Okay. So one of the hardest things is when you grab, okay, guess what? That circle goes down, you can reverse go up, and rotate this way, you kind of rotate that. You'll free that as after a while. And I'm too busy trying to do this when I could. And sense imagine is different than imaginary. That's near to play sense imagine, which means your body and your mind are present. Okay? Some of us, don't realize what we're playing with. Since I was playing with one of those from infinity. Its ability to do it. I mean, it's much bigger than ours. So, it's a point where we go, oh, okay. Okay. But, if you, for example, if you come in here and you come in here, let's see, okay, let's go this way. Let's go this way. Or let's start to go this way. Or let's reverse that. Each of those just simply, sense imagining a center circle. How many points are there in that circle? An infinite number. And if you want to make the circle bigger, you increase the number of points, you make the points bigger. You try to figure it out, you get caught up in the dialogue in your head, and you're not in sense imagine anymore. We're going to try to be like Albert Einstein a little bit. I suspect Osunset was a lot like that. It wasn't physics for him, it was martial arts. But he probably ran into certain problems in physics, like all of a sudden, boom, okay. Mass, weight, okay, but guess what? We're biological. We're both alive, because we have mass and weight. Boom, 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 boom. Whatever the movement happens to be in the moment. We're cool with it. So just take a second or two. You have a circle. Sense imagine it. It's different than think about it. All right? Most people don't have the patience to do that. Let me do this. You got to kind of quiet down with yourself a bit. Yeah. How many points does that circle have? And the circle can move, it can revolve. But a circle has a center point. There's no circle without that center point. So what if you could take any single point on that circle, and it becomes the center of another circle? And that circle can revolve and revolve around that center. It can shift planes a bit. Ultimately, it becomes spherical. Okay? As you get a little bit more advanced. So the motion is very free. If he grabs on firm right here, I fix my point here, but if he's really solid that way, then I go the other way. Okay. So that's what we're just imagine. It's all different than I'm thinking about it and trying to figure it out. Easy. Just imagine. I'm playing with my granddaughter, Nora. We have a great time. She makes up games like that, and she changes the games right in the middle. Now we're playing another game, Grandpa Jack. Oh my gosh! See, you can't win this game because that trades a new game. Yeah, somebody who thinks like me. Interesting, my granddaughter. Okay, right? So, all of a sudden, he changes the game. Okay, I could change the game too. Switch to another circle created by that point where he's grabbing out here. Okay, the point here communicates with that point out there. And so it says, okay, it's like, you're on Zoom. I'm going to make you the host. We do that back and forth. It's like, oh, you be very, very free. Make host. Okay. All right. This is a host. Okay, I'm going to make that the host. Okay. Do this all the time in high tech stuff, or low tech, whatever it is I'm doing. Be very easy. Be very easy with it. I'm too heavy. I get too caught up in trying to figure out what to do out there. Instead of, okay, I'm going to play this game. This game's too heavy. Okay. This game's too serious. This game's too limited. I'm going to change the game. Okay. So let's go again and just maybe the one here. No. That's fine. Okay. Boom. Maybe we're standardizing a little bit, but we're doing the same thing. Enter the circle. Every point on that circle, your circle has to have a center. But every point on that circle can be the center of a new circle. If you're thinking about it, your mind explodes. So just be easy with it. And we're just in this thing called sense imagine. That's it. Okay? All right? So keep going. Yeah. Sense imagine. Clear. Easy. Yeah. So he's a little firmer now. Hold this for a second. Sense imagine. Not try to fix it. Sense imagine. Yes. All of a sudden you shifted the games. It's even super stronger than my friend. No, you're going to change the game. It's going to be like my granddaughter is very good at it. See, you can't win, Grandpa Jack. I would change the game so I win. Yeah, that's okay. That's what grandkids do. And what the grandfathers and grandparents do, they always lose. That's pretty cool with that. Yeah. See, the more you try to fix it out there, the more you're playing his game. You see what I mean? Create your own game. That's what sense imagine is. You see what I mean? Yeah, it's actually pretty cool when you start to play it. Okay, keep playing. Now you're playing his game. Sense imagine means you're clear. Yes, yeah. All right. After a while, you don't try to fix him. You fix yourself. You're like my granddaughter. It's like, you didn't win, Grandpa Jack. I just changed the game. Oh no, again. I know. You start thinking. Well, when you start thinking, you're not in sense imagine. When you start thinking, you're not in sense imagine. Okay? And that's what I'm saying. The person that I think, well, thinks the same way I do, probably the most, is my granddaughter. She just makes up a game like that. And of course, the game has this internal sense of itself. But then all of a sudden, when I'm about to win, she changes the game. Right? He's solid. Okay, I'm going to try to fix solid. No, I'm just going to. He's pushing down or something. Okay. Yeah. What is that sort of flow and freedom? See, this isn't about doing anything about controlling him at all. This is about letting possibilities in that are probably much healthier than me trying to deal with that. Okay, well, yeah. Yeah. And the point of it is, Takeda Sensei had this ability, basically what he had was Aikido jujitsu. It wasn't jujitsu, it was Aikido jujitsu, which makes you understand how to manipulate energy through techniques which are somewhat degree jujitsu. Jujitsu by itself is kind of more skillful towards and balance. Okay, so he did Aikido jujitsu. Okay. And the sensei said, well, that's pretty cool stuff. He got really good at it. Yeah. But then again, he saw the Gucci sensei, who said, you're playing way too small. Yeah, you're really good at that stuff. But you've got your center and circle and you can do some really good stuff with it. But then again, I think what the Gucci sensei told him was, okay, now, okay, you've got this and your own circle, but this point can become the center of another circle. He's grabbing here, okay, this point can become the center of another circle. You got this, well, this point can become the center of another circle. And when you establish the center circle that way, it's very free and fluid. Any single point out there becomes the center point for a new circle or new harmony, an IT. And I told you, IT Jiu-Jitsu was about techniques and controlling people through energy. So they were sort of a center circle. But I think right here, come on. Or sensei, when I think it was a lot of it was the Gucci sensei, a lot of it was own internal sense of talent. Yeah, I don't want to just be a super Aikido Jiu-Jitsu master. I'm going to create something different. Oh, let's call it Aikido. Because, the center of the circle represents a harmony. All of that spins out of control without the center. On the other hand, it's not that this fixes, this fixes. So, the game you play sometimes it says, okay, is any point on the circle can become the center of its own circle. And the primary thing, center to circle, circle back to center, is the one way of describing IT. Okay? Circle can represent body. Center represents mind. Center is circle, circle, center. All right? Center is more the yang rising force. Circle is for fluid in you. But you need them both. So this is what we're doing. Okay, so when we move in and get more in camera range again, so everybody's spread out. Okay, this is good. Now we got 4. Where maybe we'll have more people before the end of the class. Got another hour. Good. Sense, imagine is different than think about and thought. Think, imagine a circle. Right? That circle. How many points are there in that circle? Well, you could go dot, 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 give it how many points? If you do, you make the point smaller infinitely. Right? It's an infinite number, potentially. We're talking potential. And that circle can rotate. It can rotate. It can turn. Right? The way we're doing, the circle can also grow or it can condense. A little bit like the Ant-Man movies. Okay, you put yourself ant size or quantumize yourself and go, or you can make yourself into a 60-foot giant. That's a circle. No center, no circle. So there's a relationship with the center point. When your circle is flowing, that means there's a center. All right? Okay. Now the game we're playing here, okay, in other words, here, okay, now give me real hard. That point out there can become the center of another circle. So you got your own circle to your own center, and any point out there becomes a new circle around that point. And therefore the center circle harmony, which to some degree is Aikido. Aikido is not just ki. It's ki in harmony with ki. Okay? Yeah. So for that, we're just playing center circle and we're playing sense imagine. We're playing sense imagine. Got the game? It's a game. They're a serious game if I was going to say play it when people are trying to crush a skull. You're going to be good at it. Okay? Right? Just for a second. Sense imagine. The current Marvel series, if you want, is called What If? That's what this is. Well, I'm sure Albert Einstein played this game. He said imagination is more important than what you know, because what you know is fixed. It's based on a number of things that came before. Everything new has to come through imagination. You're saying, not just mental, imaginary, sense imagine. Sense imagine that system. Sense imagine that center point without which the circle flies apart. Sense imagine around that center point the circle can rotate. Now, it's a big jump, but let's take it anyway. Any point out there in space-time is part of this center-circle relationship, and any point out there can become the center of another circle. You grabs real firm and on top. Okay, cool. Nice center point, talk the point out there, and said, you are now going to go on your route. So things are very fluid and free. Now, he mentioned something. When you start to think about it, you're not in sense imagine anymore. This is more in the moment. Feel, sense, imagine, feel. Yeah? You can't go into a dialogue with yourself as mental, or you're not in sense feel anymore, or sense imagine. There's a couple other words. Okay, so we got 2 pairs. Good, let's go. Sense, imagine. No different. Oh, sense, imagine. We'll keep going. Now, the second you do that, that was really good. We're back up here. Sense, imagine. You're going to think thoughts. It's just it doesn't disrupt your sense, imagine. It's, it's like, what's the problem? That's the problem. It's too solid. But also, my mind is creating something out there, and all of a sudden, I don't have this, do I? If I get this, okay. David, you need to take over the Zoom drawing because I'm going to make you host. Right? Communication. If I lose this, I can't do that. But that's a relationship which is very free, doesn't exist in my thoughts. It exists in sense imagine. You see what I mean? And so a lot of it is, we're creating very harmonious relationships and constructs when we're in sense imagine. Just imagine what would happen if the Republicans and Democrats could get together. They don't have to agree with one another. They just have to find a balance, right? They could sort of sense imagine a unified, healthy country. You see what I mean? Everything starts there. If you can't do that, you just pocket the chaos and self-interest. And Higuchi kind of cleaned up Osensei's plate a little bit because Osensei was studying with Takeda, who was into controlling. Right over here was basically Aikido Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, you use the center circle, for Jiu-Jitsu. And Higuchi told Osensei, you're much better than that. Much better than that. Yeah, I think that Higuchi Sensei stood for his peace and, universal love and things like that. Pissed a lot of people off. But his sense imagine, his sensei, oh yeah, I sense imagine. We're kind of brothers. Right? And that was something that Takeda had, but Takeda was more like Darth Vader, which he kind of had a flip-flop. Okay? All right? Here we go. Come on. Yeah. And staying in sense imagine is harder than you, because it's so easy when you're in sense imagine. And we're looking for something that upsets our apple cart. And sense imagine is one of the most real things you can be into. It looks like what I'm doing is doing this motion, but really all it is there's a circle. That point out there, that's the point. This says you are now going to create your own circle. Well, I mean, yeah, in other words, I got this, but the world was kind of in this crazy. I don't fix the world. I fix my relationship with myself and introduce myself to the dimension of sense imagine in which there are solutions. But don't involve me, having to kind of somehow beat you. So what is this? Okay, all right. You're at the center. All of a sudden you're at the circle, aren't you? Yeah. All right, yeah. All we did is change our relationship so that the whole thing flows. You see? We are both a part of what's going on. We're both a part of the IT, center to circle. Doesn't get more IT than that. You can't have a circle without a center. It's just the points fly off in chaos. Okay. Conversely, if you just have a fixed point, there's no movement or change. All of a sudden, things gonna blow up anyway. We're blowing up because of climate change because we can't stop crazy oil companies from making money and corporations from taking over our lives. Right? So yeah, they're stubborn. Yeah. And so, that sort of got to happen. We think, Aikido is true democracy. Everybody at the center, everybody in the circle system, right? Let's work together, kind of create through, but it has to happen in sense imagine, right? It has to happen in sense imagine. Because when we try to fix it out there, go to the ballot box, vote responsibly. But you're right there. I'm going to do that. So it's all of a sudden, but in changing your grip, you established a new point around which there's still a circle. Gender circle. Circle the center. You either way. In fact, I need it because I'm trying to do that out there. No, my center communicates with this point and makes it the center. That makes absolutely no sense to you unless you incensing. Stuff like that. I changed the rules. Oh, wow, okay. You mean I didn't win? No, you didn't win. I won. Oh, okay, all right. Like okay. Okay, now when you start to wrestle out there, just imagine. Yeah. After a while, you can do that for a while, but then you get lost out there. Okay, because you're used to it. Just imagine you're in that just imagine place. Yeah. Yeah. What is it? It's right here, right now. Your mind is free. Your body is relaxed, pleasant. You don't have to go in the gym and put on 20 pounds of muscle to do this. Well, in fact, if you want to do that, that's fine. But you might get so enamored with your muscles that you forget who you are. Right? So anyway, keep going. Now, there's a problem right there. I don't know that you're trying to show me. But in basketball, it's called a pump fake. I pretend to shoot, you jump up, I shoot. I establish the rhythm, okay? But it doesn't work if I just keep pump faking and never shoot. You see what I mean? Yeah, I thought you just get that shot. Or conversely, I'm so good, boom, when I do the pump fake, you've got to respond to it. Okay? Well, okay, now you're going down. Okay. If you run into difficulty, well, it's okay. It's flaring out that way. Okay. Boom. 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 Yeah. But you let the center circle. Yeah, that's right. Because it's a very original pattern. And around which, other than that, we're kind of doing a stupid version of Aikido jujitsu. You see what I mean? Because we're focused on the techniques, and and then the teacher said, you're much, okay. You're grateful to him, but on the other hand, your destiny is much different. So it's like changing from Aikido jujitsu to Aikido. He's called it Aikido for a while, but then again, he did that switch, right? Because it wasn't a jitsu, it wasn't technique. Becoming the person. How many points do you have, Michael? How many points do you have? How many points do you have? Huh? You're coming in the circle. How many points do you have? How many points do you have? How many points are there? Each of those points, it's almost like, in this timeline, I'm losing, so I'm going to switch timelines. And I'm not going to beat you. I'm going to unite with you in a way that we create a better reality in this timeline. I know all those sci-fi stuff is actually pretty applicable here. I think it was actually thought that way personally. Yeah. It wasn't just a job, obviously. My job, I'm stronger and better than everybody. Yeah, okay. But on the other hand, that's what we do. Okay. So anyway, keep going. Any point. Any point. Since we're talking about chocolate mousse, who's talking about like any point? You go to here, go to here, go to here. Boom, boom, boom. Whatever the point is, whatever. You get another technique, we get another circle. We get another one. It gets kind of formless there, but there is no formless. There is center to circle, circle to center. Well, now you make a mistake. I said, boom. That point that was quote unquote a mistake becomes a point for another circle to form around. The hard thing is saying, okay, can't imagine. You get so busy out there, right? Can't imagine. Everything, we're going to turn this crazy climate crisis around or somehow get the government to make sense of itself, It's going to happen in sense imagine, and that's going to, right? Yeah. It's not going to happen when we get to, well, we got to take action. Like I'm going to vote in the recall election. Yes, I'm going to do that. But there are consequences if you just sort of, you're going to leave it all up to the universe. Well, the universe is in motion, and I have a role to play within my quadrant of it. I'm not going to just say, okay, I'm going to shine the whole thing off and drift into an idea. There you there. See, there's no reason why that point of contact should do anything except boom, just, there's no, I'm just going like that. What about here? That point of contact forms another circle around it. There's a lot of energy when you get center to circle, circle to center. You see? But I don't have enough. Everybody's got the potential to work center to circle, circle to center. But to work it, the major thing is, what does sense imagine? Yeah, it's not just imaginary. Imagine I'm winning the lottery. I got to buy a ticket, which I never do. Whatever the movement happens to be. Whatever the technique happens to be. Okay. We need to dial up the technique. A series of points around the center. Right? Sometimes, for example, if you want to get somewhere, but you don't have gas in the car. Okay, okay. Fill up. After a while, the points need to move faster for you. That's also in sense imagine. In other words, I'm going to twist the wrist to try to do something to move your mass. You say, well, there's a couple of tricks you learn, So, at that point, we settle for so little, so that we oftentimes go, what's that? It's your birthright. Anybody can center, circle, or circle center, right? Anybody. We just don't, right? Okay. Okay. Yeah, one of the things that is exactly is sense imagine. Sense imagine. I can't sense imagine when I'm too into rapid thoughts about what's out there. Got to kind of settle a bit. When I'm kind of in a screwy place, I can't sense imagine either, because sense imagine is about harmony to some degree. Helps me feel my breathing. As opposed to being too busy out there. Think about it. That'll throw you off, by the way. I say think about it. You can think about it to where you realize that thinking about it gets you away from it. But on the other hand, if you don't think about it, you might not prioritize it. Okay? I was listening to a baseball broadcast, and the announcer of the moment was talking about hitting. He says, if you're thinking out there, you're in trouble. That ball's coming at you 100 miles an hour, and it may be something that looks like that, but it's got different movement, or it looks fast, but it's not. There's a whole bunch of stuff out there. So if you're thinking, too much noise. But he said, on the other hand, if you don't think, you're in trouble too. Because pitchers know how to get you out, and they get you out the same way. And so you let them keep getting you out the same way. You got to think, I'm going to try something different. I'm not going to swing at that. And then all of a sudden, the pitcher's behind in the count because you didn't swing at a bad pitch. Then they got to come in, and maybe you start to be a better hitter. You see what I mean? So when you think, you're in trouble. And if you don't think, you're in trouble. So you're going to think about, imagine, feel. And then there's imagine, feel. Like, for example, I imagine, feel, I'm feeling a deeper root structure. I'm not a tree. But, there's a deeper, darker, very moist earth We don't have that right now because everything is burning up in California and everything's flooding on the East Coast. It's crazy. The deeper, moisture, more vibrant. What is that? Well, we're starting to imagine feel. Imagine my breath expanding past the body a bit. Just imagine feel. You're going to get your own stuff. My legs are starting to say, okay, I've been sitting for a while, so when my mind starts with that, we're going to imagine feel. I'm sitting in a pool of energy. And all of a sudden, that image creates kind of a calm inside. Just imagine feel. So let's listen to our feet. We're going to stand up in just a second. So, all right. You know, my inner crazy hero was you should be able to tough your way through that. Yeah, that's fine. But when I tough my way through it, I don't imagine feel, do I? I might get tougher. I just feel there's kind of a quiet going on. Yeah, the fans are going. There's a holiday weekend going on. This new Marvel movie came out. Well, that's what's going on. That feel there's a calm. That's different than I'm thinking about calm. I need to get calm. That calm has a texture to it. A little different than just an illusion out there. But that does it really exist? It's just an imagined feel. Yeah, those are, just a couple of things that you need to begin to do. The imagination is real, but it's not just imagine. Imagine feel. Putting my hand out. It's kind of like a, flower, they're closed. The sun hits them, they start to open. Imagine feel. My hand is not a flower. Right? I'm kind of taking a bath in a nice, clean mountain stream. You ever want to get the feel of it? Watch the movie Princess Mononoke. They do a lot of really wonderful imagery with nature. Because you'll see something that resonates with you. It's awakening some imagined feel. Those are, you find your own way to it. What I use may not work for you. Okay? May not work for you. Okay? Oh, that's just, we'll just stay down here for a little bit, but we'll move it. It's just cities and camp, cities and cities and camp. Yeah, here that's a pulling motion, but all of a sudden. What is that? Tractor beam. Got it? I'm going to pull up my. A lot of times what happens is that he grabs on, and there's a little blip in space time. This is expanding. Like, my granddaughter blowing bubbles. Sometimes you blow huge ones. A little bubble, no, a big bubble, a big bubble. That's a sense imaginary. There's no bubble. But within this energy, yes, there is a bubble. And it can expand. And conversely, in certain cases, it can contract and then it can expand. It needs to. You see what I mean? That's energy, how it moves. Center of the circle, circle, center. It's like the Green Lantern all energy constructs come out of the center circle, circle, the center relationship. This is the wave. Huh? This is the spiral. Imagine. Let go of this. Inner critic, whatever it is, the harsh coach is telling you got to be that way. It's like Thor's mom in Endgame. Son, you're miserable. Don't listen to your dad. I'm the wisest person in the house. Stop being who you think you're supposed to be. Be who you are. That's where sense feels. Thinking imagine you got it in. All right? So I'm making noise and giving you directions and everything. But you sure got to relax, open, and find view there. That's where sense imagine is. That's why I said the mind I found was most like mine. Okay, let's change this rotate once more. Just come again. Okay. This is a move. One of the things here, just imagine is very alive. Just imagine is very alive. What about there, for example, what we're going to create is a water slide for you. You say, I mean, you get the standard circle, center. you sort of get, you know, like you get the wave or something back. Oh, 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 yeah. You're going to create a roller coaster ride. You never turn to where you started. You know, there's a whole bunch of things right here. The echo effect. You the sound, you hear the echo of it. That's the original sound. You know what I mean? Yeah. The original sound is boom. Boom. You get the echo, though. The original sound is more silence, but the echo comes out of that silence. Not, you know, and so yeah, it's just, you know, you can activate points out there. Oh, since it's good, you know, whatever it is like here, you know, like, you know, people come at him, you know, it looks kind of weird. But all of a sudden, you know, there's this mountain of water keys coming at them, you know, like all of a sudden, you know, oh, tsunami out of nothing. It's a little old man, but all of a sudden you can summon this tsunami of ki, you know, and it doesn't hurt anybody, you know, right? So, you know, in that way, sense imagine is an important sense, you know, that, I mean, important sense. Well, boom, 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 boom. You go that way, go that way, you go that way. Right? There you go. Boom, 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 boom. It forms, but you know, so we destroy that one. I think it's a little bit like a Stephen Curry crossover. Then he pulls up from 35 feet and game over. Nobody games that way. Well, I mean, you know, games within games. I mean, in a lot of ways, everything's a game until we make it too serious, and the game starts to have really bad consequences. You know, but you know, like boom, 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 boom. If you grab on, boom, boom, let's go, just boom, 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 boom. Okay. Well, that's right there. It is almost like, you know, any point becomes the center of a new circle if you need it. Now, you know, some people, it's like, yeah, we'll do a pattern like, you know, Shihan knows. Well, then we're going to go the other way. Shihan knows that. Top of the wall. You know, we'll repeat it. Shihan knows it. Boom. Yeah, we'll do the same time. Okay. Yeah, you keep the pattern. But it's, you know, it's freer. And showing sometimes I lock in so much, all I do is lock in the same bad stuff and limitations. And so, you know, part of this is just when you're in sense imagine, you have a freedom to be yourself for a lot of ways. You know, the world says you can't be that. To be that, what happens to the effect? Imagination is real than anything else. It's just what we do is we just imagine the same world and same limitations and same stuff. You know, so when you kind of open up a little bit, I mean, that's what they said, you know, like this old man, look at that, what I can do. This old man can do this stuff. What can you do? You know what I mean? Then everybody got too caught up in that. And yeah, we got to learn that stuff. But we also have to kind of sometimes open up. Yeah, okay. Okay. What we can do a little bit right here is just let's look at, for example, we're going this way, this way, this way. What can you make out of it? Right? If we can, what can you make out of it? Now we're working that emotion right here. We're almost done. And then we get this function. So, we get, any point becomes the point for another circle to form. Okay, so, let me go that way. And sometimes, what it is, boom. This is the echo effect. Yeah. But you don't hear the first time. That's what the circle is. Boom, boom. Anyway, any point becomes the, inform on that point. You can form another circle around that point. Okay? So a little bit more about before. Again, high definition of get a whole bunch of stuff. It's just imagine place is a very alive place. I'm trying to imagine, too mental with it. Okay. So basically what I'm wanting you to do is go out there and respectfully mess around and just imagine. Respectfully. Okay? You see what I mean? You stay too fixed. You miss it. Then you go crazy because all your energy is combined. There's a sense you imagine allows your energy to move as it's intended to move, not to lock in to things. See, anytime, all caught out there, okay, another circle is forming, isn't it? One caught here, okay, another circle is forming. Another circle is forming. Another circle is forming. You're going to sweat it. Do it again. Right? So I'm asking you to go out there and improvise a bit. Okay? Go. spread out. This takes a little bit more room. We only got 4 people, but we don't want to have a bad collision here with 4 people in this space. So. Yeah. But I don't think it's contract. Okay, let's watch for a couple of things. You may not know what's going to happen, but you are providing leadership. Okay, so the Sense Imagine place is a place for you to kind of discover yourself, kind of in some degree of a leadership role. Okay, so he's coming to us. So I put this up. Okay, I often spar with my granddaughter, you know, because she has all these plastic axes and weapons, some of which are pretty gruesome, you know, and she comes at me and she doesn't pull. That's the other thing about it, you know. But what I find is very simple is I put mine out and she goes for that and I do something different, which most of the time she doesn't even see. So I lose because eventually she whacks me somewhere, but you know, she doesn't see this motion. She doesn't see that motion. Or she doesn't see that motion. Another point, another circle, 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 another point, another circle. You go from point to point to point to point. If you're thinking, You're not sense imagining. You create. It's a circle. Okay, good. There's a circle around it. Well, let's push them back. So go the other way. No, rather about it. We create a variety of different movements that are possible here. Sure, you bring all this energy moving, but you're providing that point. It's your question. It's leadership, especially in in times that are very uncertain. Somebody's got to take the leadership role. Now, I've got too strong an idea. It might be right, but it might be totally the wrong idea. And sometimes, I'm getting, I don't know, the whole Afghanistan thing. Biden got caught up in Trump's situation, right? Although if you're president, you're on the hot seat. Now the question is, okay, mass. This is the point. But there's always a circle you can make out of it. And if all of a sudden mass defeats you, well, okay, let's start your circle. That's why the mistake might lead you to all different traps that you might not have discovered without the mistake or the failure. See what I mean? That's why I think they said the ultimate victory is winning over ourselves, not what's going on out there. Sometimes you just want to give up. It's like, oh, what a crazy world. Okay. Let's imagine yourself to be a point in space-time. There's some circle of harmony around you. Then the mind comes up and says, yeah, but the world, I don't know what's going on with it. The pandemic is out of control again, even though there's all this vaccination going on. How can this happen? Find your point. There's a circle. I get clearer. I know what I'm going to do. Okay? Story when I went up to the Aikido shrine in 2006, Isayama Sensei was one of the kids along with Senko Sensei during World War II. Sensei's students were in the war getting killed. And so he was farming and teaching a couple of sleepy kids, one of which was Isayama Sensei. And so one day there's a huge storm. And there's an Aikido class, and it says, no one's going to show. Then you think, well, what if Sensei shows? Well, you'll see that nobody showed, So he gets his butt out of gear and makes it to the dojo. And soon, a couple of minutes later, sure enough, Sensei comes in right through that horrible super storm. Sensei was going to show up whether or not anyone was there or not. He was going to be that point of which a circle could form. You see what I mean? And most of the time we'll give up or we'll kind of go, yeah, I don't think I should bother. Well, okay. Be free with yourself, but it's choice. You are that center point, so the circle will form around you. Okay? And so, it's meant to be more than just a mind game. Just imagine it's not a mind game at all. It clears your mind so that you can sense imagine. Your body starts to open, so it's for potential can kind of be a part of the movement of the circle. Okay? Well, those are things that sometimes, well, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Yeah, kind of. But the world does need people who, quote unquote, think differently. In this case, you don't think sense imagine, you think sense imagine. You're not. It's more like, okay, I'm just going to pause for a bit, get a little balance with my breathing, clear my head a bit, relax my shoulders, see what's going on in my belly. Wow, let's begin to sense imagine. Okay? And I'll relax and you become the center. There's a circle that comes around you. And it gets very quick. Okay. Big stand up. Yeah. Let's stretch for a bit. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just gonna. Most of you have done the classes. You know what I tend to do. Okay. Well, center, circle. But it changed hands to different circles. Circle. Every time I change the grip, establish a different center point. Boom, 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 boom. And circle is forming around it. Boom, 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 boom. Let's play games that way. See if he's coming in this direction. Oh, there's a circle around that point. Another point. There's a circle around that point, isn't there? Yeah. There's a point, there's a circle around that point. There's a point, there's a circle around that point. That's what games that way. Yeah. He's moving the point out there. There's a circle around that point. So that's why games that way. I was trying to say we call that training, but for me, you know, you get to do this for 2 hours. Yeah, you can't do that. Right? I mean, somebody like Curry spends hours shooting. Hours. Makes it look easy. But you know, other people that historically liked him and they watch him, you know. You just don't realize how much time he spends in the gym just working on it. Why does he do that? He likes the process. Wherever he's standing on the basketball court, he in the hoop, yeah, a circle. From 2 feet to 10 feet to 20 feet. Sometimes he takes us in the wind tunnel. And I'm sure there's a childish sense of wonder that feeds all that hard work. He's working, but then again, it's not work for him. Because it's creation. So, you know, with this, I'm going to work at it. Yeah. No. Point. Circle around that point. Different point. Circle around that point. Right? Circle around that point. We go from point to point to point to point, 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 point to point. And that's what I do. And if you that's hard for you, go through the 30 movements and go through the center circle changes and the other ones, and then there's a point. Oh, there's a circle around that point. Oh, a point. A circle around that point. A point. Oh, a circle around that point. Let's see what happens. And so what I'm doing is getting into a imagine field point space. Imagine a point out there. There's a circle there. Imagine point out there. Okay, circle here. Boom, 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 boom. Another circle, counter circle. And what happens is after all, you get very good at switching circle points to different circles. It's like in the Marvel universe now, you can switch timelines. Okay, pretty cool. Okay, all right. Boom, 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 boom. And it's not infinite, but you're coming from a more infinite place when you start to establish the imagined field space. So those are games I play. Some of you can do it if you know, you got to kind of respectfully mess around. Okay? Huh? Okay, I'm gonna put this away. Hey, thank you very much. Okay, we appreciate your coming. These holiday weekends, sometimes they are tricky, okay? But that sense imagine thing is really important, okay? It's extremely important. One thing you can do, you can sense imagine a better you, better body, all in extending, like Mr. Fantastic. It's like they're all superheroes. They come out of the sense imagine place, and they create a character. Well, I give them a cape and put them in long johns and put an S on his chest, and they couldn't sell that for a while. They really couldn't sell Superman. But then all of a sudden, it started a whole industry called comics, not just reprints of newspaper comics. So you never know. All of a sudden, in that sense feel place, you get an image or a character, a circle forms around it. Okay, thank you. We do need to disinfect, and I'll do the close up as usual. Okay.